there's more for you, you feel it. You know it. This is your life, and it's time to go from contender to champion. This is the show. John Madsen.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. Hopefully, you've had an amazing week. We're headed into the weekend, and I got a good show for you today. What I wanted to talk about is a person's willingness to suck. Can you and are you willing to go through the pain, embarrassment, whatever else emotions come with being really shitty at something for whatever amount of time it takes before you can master it? And one of the things that I'm most interested in, and one of the things that if I could go back and start all over again, would be the understanding that there aren't any shortcuts, maybe in the short term, and putting in the necessary time is the thing that's going to move the needle the most. Becoming a master of your craft. Whatever passion you have, whatever career you're in, whatever you like to do, becoming a true master, not an amateur, not somebody looking to make a quick dollar, quick buck, somebody not trying to shortcut any situation, but putting the time, effort, investment, and anything else to becoming a true master. Because if you do that, and you go all in on a certain thing, if you put 10 years in, 15 years in, the knowledge, the experience, the mastery that comes with it, then you can learn the other stuff. You can learn how to market that. But what master marketers don't have is the knowledge, the experience, the actual mastery over their career, over their chosen profession. And the one thing that masters can do is charge premium prices. People from all over the world now would rather work with a master than a amateur. Somebody who's just okay at what he does or what she does. And this goes for everything. If you're in sales, how do you become a master at closing? What does mastery even look like? In fitness, are you traveling around the world, going to seminars, learning from the best of the best for 10 years straight, immersing yourself, getting the experience? Or are you trying to print off a personal training certification that you can get in the fastest amount of time so that you can quickly make a little bit of money and never self-educate, never become the master at your craft? So the one thing that I know is true, and the one thing that I would change, if I could change anything, would be to understand that mastery, the journey to mastery, is the thing that matters most. And the willingness to just be shitty for however long it takes at something. Because if it means something to you, and it's your purpose, and it's something you want to do, then eventually you're going to be great at it. You're going to be better than all the amateurs around you. People are going to pay you more money for the knowledge and experience that your mastery brings. My message to my employees who work for my gym, who want to make a career out of fitness. I have personal trainers, gym owners, people in the fitness industry hit me up all the time and they want my advice on how to grow a business or what they should do. My answer today is way different. My answer today is to make enough money to get by, whatever that looks like, but to put all your energy and all your focus into becoming a master right now, because later on you can learn the marketing, you can learn the sales, you can become a master in those areas too, to really, really, really live whatever kind of life you want. So there's two questions that I have for you right now. Are you willing to put in the time, to pay the money, to do whatever's necessary to become that master, or not? And are you willing to be really, really shitty at first? Couple of examples from my own life. You guys know that I didn't play high school football and I walked on to a junior college. Somehow I believed in myself and that was the first step. But when I got there, especially after that first week or 2 weeks of practice, I had a ton of self-doubt. I realized that I was in over my head. There was no turning back and I didn't quit. But I remember having conversations with my father, just telling him, you know, I'm thankful for this opportunity. Whatever happens, I'm okay with. But I don't know if I'm going to make the team. I think I might get cut. And the reason was because I was really shitty at first. I missed 3 years, 3 very, very important years of football. I didn't know how to read a defense. I was sitting in meetings and they were talking about cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. I had zero idea what they were talking about. My last football playing experience was in Little League. And I remember feeling so stupid. I didn't even want to ask a question, because if I asked a simple question like, what is cover 2? The room would have burst out in laughter. Like, who the fuck is this idiot in our room? And who does he think he is, not playing high school football and waltzing into here like he's going to play a college sport? Running routes, I was sloppy. I was shitty. Quarterback would yell at me for not being in the right spot at the right time. And if I wasn't in the right spot at the right time, he was getting hit in the backfield. My routes were sloppy. My technique was sloppy. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But for me, there was no turning back. I wasn't going to be a failure. I was either going to make it or die trying. So I practiced every day after practice. I visualized me running the perfect route. I worked on that for years until I became a master at it. From the time I walked on to Snow College in 2001 to the time I was done playing football in 2010, almost 2011, I put a decade into not just going out there and practicing half-assed, but deep practice, where I look at those first couple years and I was shitty. In fact, after 2 years, when I thought I was good and thought I had it all figured out, when I went and joined the University of Utah, I realized how shitty I still was 3 years later. In fact, I was embarrassed to do one-on-ones because I was tired of getting my ass chewed out. Funny story, my junior year when we won the Fiesta Bowl, we're playing North Carolina, and I was like the third receiver on that. I was the third or fourth option. We were loaded that year. Some amazing athletes, some amazing wide receivers we had. Third or fourth option. We were running a 4 wide receiver set 90% of the time. And against North Carolina, I caught, I think, eight balls or so. So it was like my best game to date. And I caught each ball on what we called a stop route. So basically like a hook, but I was getting to about 12 yards, turning around. Alex Smith was the quarterback, so that ball was right on the money. And I caught all these balls. And the next day, how the media works, they always want to talk to a different athlete or whoever they thought had a good game or whatever. For whatever reason, one of the news channels on their weekly segment, they used to always choose an offensive player and a defensive player, and then Urban Meyer would be there with us. So I got there on Monday. We won the game. I thought I had a great game, and I got notified that I was going to be going with Urban because I was the offensive player selected to talk on the news. The bad news was that we had to drive with Urban Meyer, who still at this point scared the living shit out of me. So me and a defensive player were walking to his Audi. All the coaches got, they had deals with the dealership, so Audi was providing cars for the coaches. So we get to Urban's Audi, and both me and the defensive player reached for the back seat because nobody wanted to sit up front with him. We were scared of him. And Urban says, "John, get in the front." So I was like, shit. Okay, so I get in the front. Defensive player in the back puts his headphones on, just chilling, just trying not to say a word. I sit in the front. I don't know what to say to Urban ever because he just stares at you and stares right through you. He's not saying a fucking word to me. So I'm just looking out the window, going about my day. All of a sudden, in the middle of the fucking road, he slams on his brakes. Defensive player in the back basically smashes his head into the back of the front seat, headrest. My seatbelt's on. It locks. I jolt forward. Like, what the fuck? Kid in the back of the seat's looking at me too, going, like, he's just like, what the fuck is going on? We thought that, some kid ran across the street or something. Nope. Nobody in sight. Urban just decides to slam on the fucking brakes. Then he starts going again. Literally. In our brains, we're going, what the fuck is going on? Then he turns to me. He's like, when I slammed on my brakes, did the nose of the car rise up or did it go down? And I said, it went down. And he says, exactly. He's like, that's how your stop route should be. Those stop routes were some of the shittiest stop routes that I've ever fucking seen. Silence. I thought I had a good game. This is before the interview. I'm like, okay. Doesn't say another word to me. We go and do the interview. And that was all that needed to be said. That lesson has stuck with me ever since. Basically, when you run a stop route, at the top of the route, we want the nose over toes so that you can burst back out. And I was kind of raising up and sitting in what would look like a chair. So when we broke it down on film, I just got annihilated by my coaches. This is the shittiest route. Fucking sucks. I caught the ball. Didn't matter. Like, they were pissed at my route running. So to tie this story back together, I thought I was doing okay, but I was actually really, really shitty. And my coaches let me know it. So if you're lucky enough and you can take it and you have thick enough skin having someone in your corner tell you when you are shitty is the best thing for you sometimes. Because I worked and fucking worked on becoming a great route runner. When I got into the NFL, when I was playing tight end, I can honestly say I played 4 years in the NFL and saw a lot of different tight ends come and go. I would put my route running ability up with any one of them that I saw. I can truly say that portion of my game, I became a master. Alternatively, learning how to block like a tight end is what ultimately got me thrown out of the NFL. That and being a pretty shitty special teams player. And the reason I never got good was because I wasn't willing to suck. I didn't fully embrace the fact that was going to be part of my role in the league. And I never embraced the suck long enough to finally get good. Or I just didn't have enough time. They're not very... In the NFL, if you don't figure that shit out pretty fast, like you're on the next flight out. In another aspect, fitness, because I've done group setting for the last almost 10 years with general pop, professional athletes, combine guys, high school athletes, I've literally put 10,000 hours. I don't know how many hours, thousands and thousands of hours. I've seen thousands of people. I've seen so many people squat. I've seen so many people deadlift. Shit that you can't learn out of a book. That when I look at something, I intuitively know, I can see, they call it the coach's eye. I can see it because I've mastered that shit because I've put so much time into it. And trainers just coming out, no matter if they read 10 books or they get a certification, they still fucking suck until they've put the experience in and they've put the fucking work in. And usually, because they don't know how to make enough money to make it their career, usually they're going to fucking quit by the time they're 25. They're going to try something else. They don't know how to make money in the fitness industry. They don't know that it's possible to make 7 figures in an industry that you fucking love and you would do for free. So they go to a job that's offering a little bit of security, a little bit more money, because it's a little bit fucking easier than putting in the motherfucking work to become a master. And that gets me fired up because when you're young and when I'm talking to people who have passion for an industry or have passion for whatever else it is, you have to understand that you're gonna suck first before you can become great.
Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of The Show with John Madsen. The greatest compliment that you could give us is liking, loving, and sharing this episode with all of your friends. So please go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and then share it online with everyone that you know. Make sure to tag John as well. He loves to hear from listeners of the show. The links for all of his socials and iTunes are in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to engage John for anything related to his coaching, consulting, or programs, please visit johnmadsen.com for everything you'd need to know on how to engage with John offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Show.